Well, good people, you know how popular IEMs are becoming for gaming because no messy hair, you can wear glasses no problem. I love the low profile nature, they sound amazing, they're affordable. But what about a microphone? The new stuff from Antlion is super exciting, the Kimura lineup. Let's check it out. So this is the new Kimura. This is the solo version. I also have the blue duo, so the dual drivers and the solo drivers, they have slight different sound properties. I gotta say, quite lovely presentation here that reveals our entire in-ear set. So beautiful red color, extra ear tips, the microphone, and this little adapter that allows you to connect both the microphone and headphone jack into a headset jack. And revealed at the bottom is this little carry pouch that is fine for the actual cable, but you do have to bend the microphone quite heavily in order for everything to kind of fit properly. But still a pretty nice inclusion. Nice. I feel like by now everyone is familiar with Antlion. They've been making ModMics, you know, the things you attach to the headphones so you can still have a beautiful sounding microphone while wearing your own headphone. The ModMic wireless is awesome. And this is kind of their approach to doing the same thing for an IEM, but controlling everything from a point of view of also releasing their own versions of in-ear monitors with the ModMic basically for this in-ear solution. The interesting thing is that they will launch 3 pairs of the Kimura. So the ModMic with the cable by itself, so you can attach your own IEMs to it. Then we have the solo version, the red one, with a single dynamic driver, and the duo, the blue one, $50 more, but damn, much, what am I saying? A much better sounding experience that gives you clarity, that gives you bass, that is not muffled, and you still have a really decent microphone, I would say. Now, you do have to keep in mind a few things. First of all, the microphone is quite sensitive. It is not noise canceling, so let me open a notepad, and as I start to type, everything would be audible. The microphone is also so sensitive that if it's brushing against your cheek and if you got some man hair or woman hair on there, nope. Because the cable is so thick, there's a lot of cable noise, which is unfortunate. The good thing is that we have a shirt clip, so you can attach it to your shirt and only that part and above will be picked up by the cable noise. So still slightly better solution than not having a cable clip. And we also have this little dual cable collector underneath, so nothing gets caught if you do rotate your head.
Come on, man, you gotta focus on this core.
Okay, what is this core?
Well, only the most pro of the P3s around. It is an open frame chassis to challenge all that dust in your space. TG to fight the fingerprints, a very important recessed motherboard side vent to accommodate all the difficult to get GPUs. We have new case feet for stability, new I/O, and you get the joy of building it all yourself. Well, you are right. This is one of the best cores yet. The Core P3 TG Pro from Thermaltake. Don't forget the name. Check it out below.
I definitely dig the handmade resin design, the red ones with the golden accents on the interior. The blue one is a bit darker, but still a very pretty IEM. And it is definitely larger than my other ones. And that's a good thing because they stick out a little bit more. They're still not too heavy. They kind of disappear in your head, after a while. But because they stick out a little bit, it's much easier to take them out versus my other low profile ones like the FiO H3s. They're so low profile and sit so flush inside my ear that I have to remove them by the cable and not by the IEM themselves. And so removing these is super easy without needing to touch the cable. And I would say because the cable is so stiff, you kind of adjust it to your ear size and leave it that way. And then you can just remove the IEM by itself. And whenever you put them back on, the cable has memory and stiffness, so it will just fall right into place. Comfort-wise, it does get in the way a little bit because the actual cable for the over-ear is not as soft as basically on all other standard IEMs, but I get it. It has to be slightly more rigid to support the weight of the microphone, but I don't understand why the left side, which doesn't have a microphone, is just as stiff. I would love to have a softer cable. And the fact that these are IEMs with a removable connector. If you have a standard cable, be my guest and swap them out if you don't care about the microphone in certain situations. There are a few nuances, but from a standard, clarity perspective, like would the teammates be able to hear you and are they going to be punching the monitor because you sound like trash? No. Are they going to be praising you for the amazing sound quality? Now this is the original ModMic. It definitely has more sound compression of the background, which is definitely necessary. I do have this on plus 20 dB just because of the Sound Blaster G6. The microphone input gain on that thing is quite low, so all the microphones are boosted plus 20. Just keep that in mind. It sounds very decent, plus combined with an open style headphone, it's a beautiful combination. This right now is the H6 Pro from EPOS, one of my most used wired headsets as of late because it's open back, the microphone sounds decent, it has actually good background compression without making you sound too robotic or nasally. It has good vocal pickup, and I think it's an awesome sounding microphone. But let me know which one sounded best to your ears in the comments. So the microphone on the Duo and the Solo is identical. I'd say it sounds really decent. If you do have an EQ version of where you're feeding the microphone source into, I would definitely recommend adding a little bit of treble to just add a little bit more clarity to the sound. But otherwise, it's fairly decent. The only thing is not noise canceling, so all the things will be picked up in your space. And I would definitely recommend EQing this thing if you can. All right, so in terms of sound quality, obviously it is a closed type of sound. It is an IEM. There's nothing open about it. And I feel that's a really good thing for certain games like Escape from Tarkov, where you don't want anything to be a distracting factor in terms of just being able to pick up certain audio cues that are absolutely going to be important for you. Situational awareness, for audio awareness, and etc. So being able to detect all the little crunchiness is very, very important. There we go. So the game is crunchy, and I feel like the Duo handle the high end much more pleasant than the Solo. The Solos have I mean, in terms of the high end, they are quite similar. I find that this to be like slightly smoother, slightly more pleasant, especially just because the bass region on the Duo is definitely a lot more controlled versus on the Solos. It's sounding a little bit muddy. Oh my god, Sniper Scap 2? I killed you. Alright, no flashlight, so I have no idea where I'm going. Okay, so he's on here. Dead. I heard something else. The Duo for Tarkov is very nice in terms of just being able to immediately detect those cues. Is someone here? Oh my god. I knew there was someone there. You know, you just gotta find them. I would say the one thing you have to be careful about with these headphones is that the ear tips that are included here are decent, but you also have to be careful not to push them in too much, because otherwise they almost like block any sound. And at one point I was like, why am I not hearing? So I was wondering, why am I not hearing anything from one side? And that's just because they were too into the ear. So there's one guy on this side and one more scav. There's one more. I heard something. Oh. Nope. There he is. Situational awareness. So this is the guy I heard too. Wow. Impressive. Just being able to notice exactly when the scavs turn. They make that sound, right? And the Duo have picked up exactly. I heard the step. I heard the step. So there's one more? Is this the step that I heard? Audio doesn't lie, my friend. I found this guy, and there's one more running towards me there. Let's just go take care of this one, swap out into the Solos, and see how they compare. But so far, the Duo is a very impressive sounding in-ear headphone. For Tarkov, it's not too crunchy. Gives me positional cues beautifully. All right, Solos time. Hello, hello, hello. All right, Solos are on, nice and red. Oh, wow, immediately. So these do
still I could be able to hear just the scav talking and knew exactly where that was coming from. Partially, map knowledge, but also very good directionality in the solos as well, despite having that single driver. But there's definitely something happening with the soundstage that I don't particularly like. I mean, I knew exactly where that was gonna come just because of the steps and like the direction that's coming from. That's usually where the scavs patrol. But I still prefer the duos in terms of sound clarity and just having a slightly more natural representation. So the solos for Tarkov, I would say, are not as good just because of that expanded soundstage. You can still pick up sources and everything that's kind of coming around you, but not as good as on the duos. And yeah, the $50 premium for the duo is definitely more worth it for this game. The solos make this game sound less crunchy, like the high end is not as defined. I'm going through bushes, for example. On the duo, that sound will be a little bit more harsh. So here, for example, the lack of clarity means that if someone was going through bushes behind me, at certain distances, maybe I wouldn't be able to pick it up. All right, let's walk into this large warehouse. This is where normally you have a very good awareness of like if there's anyone above you. Someone sees me, but I don't know from where. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Did not hear the very bottom one. So this is one of those things where partially the game, but partially the sound one as well. I would say the duos, in terms of the clarity, the sound stage, the naturalness is better. The solos have slightly expanded soundstage and definitely more muffled definition in the bass region and on the clarity side. Still, probably going to be good for some other games, right? All right, so for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so this game has beautiful music, but in terms of sound design for the PC, it's a little bit lacking. But still, it is an open world game, and the solos have that slight wider soundstage, so it helps to give you a larger audio environment. But I still prefer the duos. They're slightly sharper, they're definitely more forward, and the solos kind of fall apart. The distance makes things muffled, in the bass and on the high-end clarity stuff. So yeah, it's slightly wider soundstage for an IEM, which is a good concept, but I feel the execution on the duos is much, much better.
Get this alien away from me!
I think probably the most important question is how do these IEMs compare to other IEMs for the gaming environment? Obviously, the microphone sounds awesome. If you do add a little bit of EQ to the high end, it's going to sound crystal clear, although it is not noise canceling whatsoever. So if you are piping this through any type of software, and if it's too clear for your environment, maybe try it with some noise cancellation enabled. For example, right now. For example, this is what the microphone sounds like with noise reduction enabled through the command software with my Sound Blaster XG6. I still think it sounds pretty decent, but actually I'm disabling it because it's still, picking up a lot of the stuff. It's just muting that noise floor. Between the two, the Duo is definitely my choice, even though they are $50 extra. The resolution, the no fake soundstage expansion, and very forward-looking IEM delivery is exactly what I want for my type of gaming environment for competitive stuff. Comparing the solos to my KZZS10, which are super comfortable and I think sound really decent for the price point, but the solos have definitely better soundstage expansion, and they actually have similarities in how they try to simulate slightly wider expansion, but the KZZS10 are not as good as the solos. While my FiO FH3, compared to the duos, the FiO have definitely noticeable higher resolution quality of the driver, so you can hear things
more clearly, much better control, both on the low end and the high end. But the Duos are not far off in terms of sounding like a proper headphone, just a very closed headphone, and with the addition of a high quality microphone. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on the gaming scenario and talking about the sound as I play. Let me know what you thought about that. And thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you in the next video. As you heard, the whole video has been recorded with the Kimura. My gosh, as long as it's not brushing against your cheek and you're in a very quiet environment without much going on in terms of keystrokes and mouse clicks, then this thing is for you. I do love the shirt clip though. It is clutch. Plus the red makes your ears go faster, you know what I mean?